Hello, everyone. Andres Garcia, Keys to Success here. I have today a very good friend of mine and actually an amazing entrepreneur that created his own business, many businesses, I should say, actually. And right now, he got into the title company in 2016 and has the fastest title company in the East Coast right now. So, welcome, Latane. Thank you so much for sitting with us today.
Hey, man, I'm excited to be here. Great to see you. Thanks for having me on. Excited.
No, no, no. I'm excited about this one. It's been a long time due. So thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, but I wanted to come in and just kind of tell us about your story, which I found fascinating when I first met you, and we had that conversation through a Zoom call a couple months back. And yeah, so the first question that I really wanted to get into right at the bat is what inspired you to get into the title industry, and why did you decide to really, create your own company?
Yeah, I know it's a good question. I'll give you probably a little bit longer of an answer than you're asking for.
Amazing.
But I grew up in Virginia, went to San Diego, and started a sport and social club when I was right out of college. And so I wanted to play in sports leagues. So I wanted to play kickball, dodgeball, soccer, softball. And there was one city in the country that didn't have a big one, and that was San Diego, which is nuts because the weather is amazing and everyone wants to be there. So with an elementary school friend, he had actually just started, and I joined with him, and we ended up running this company. I did it for about 13 years. So we had 100,000 people playing sports around San Diego. We eventually got into obstacle races. If you ever saw the TV show Wipeout on ABC, we took a Wipeout run around the country. We had a night race called Electric Run. We took around the world. So we got into some really fun sports and entertainment industry events, right? But what I was realizing was, first of all, everyone always told me it's very hard to make money in sports, which is true. Like, yes, if you're in the Redskins or Commanders or Cowboys, sure, you can make a lot of money. But it's hard to make money in sports outside of kind of the major sports. And so I actually sold the company, didn't do as well as I necessarily wanted to do. And when I moved back to the East Coast, because I'm from here, my wife's from here too, I was looking for a boring industry because my background is marketing, business development. We did really beautiful like videos of the obstacle races and all the stuff we did. So I was like, man, how do I find an industry where they're behind the times on the marketing front and video front? And there is nothing more boring than title insurance.
Yeah.
Well, when I moved back here, I bought a house, and it's like everyone, some people didn't have websites, no one had social media. And, what we kept seeing was a lot of these title companies, it was kind of those dark rooms. The attorneys you're doing the closing docs. We're like, man, we could make this fun. It's the biggest purchase of your life. It's a big deal to people. How do you make this a celebration? How do you bring them into an office with arcade games, ping pong tables, coffee on tap, beer on tap, music playing, really fun swag, T-shirts that everyone has. And so we kind of worked on creating that experience. Of course, when you're starting a title company, there's 450 in this area. The last thing agents want to hear about is another title company, right?
Yeah.
So, you have this vision, and then you just got to keep grinding and working until that vision becomes life. And so that was.
Well, I think you guys were ahead of the game in a lot of in a lot of things that, for example, you wanted to create that experience, So for not only for the buyer but for the agent as well. When you come into the office, I remember coming into, I believe it was the Alexandria office when we had the closing there, and just being greeted in a certain way, having all the swag, the shirts, the hats, the ping pong table, having beer, whatever you wanted to drink, right? So it was a very friendly and very different experience, I should say. And like you said, it's one of the biggest purchases of our clients' life. And, for them to just make it so stand there like sitting on a table, signing, okay, you're done, here are your keys. I think that you guys are doing it right in that sense. And the marketing behind it explains, obviously, why you guys are probably the fastest, if not the fastest, title company growing in the East Coast right now. So that one was a no-brainer for me to start working with you guys in that sense.
Yeah.
Because my whole idea of what 2025 and when we met last year, 2024 is bringing is how do you create a different experience to your client.
Yeah.
But also how do you make real estate fun, right? And what I found is that title, like you said, falls behind the curtain. A lot of times people or buyers don't know what a title company really do for them. So a lot of times I find my clients, but how do I make sure the title is clear and I'm not going to have any issues? Well, that's exactly what title does for you, right?
Yep.
So, it's interesting to find that people are not super aware of that.
Yeah.
But that you guys are making it more known and fun for them. I definitely congratulate you guys on that sense.
No, I appreciate that. And I think what you just said too is a lot of the consumers, they don't know what title is, right?
Yeah.
And so what we're always doing, we never stop innovating, trying to providing solutions. So right now we're creating a YouTube channel, which is, there's no dumb questions, and the concept is, any question we've ever gotten at the closing table, any question we ever got with people calling us that are clients, let's answer those questions because look, they don't know what to do. They don't know about all the stuff that goes in, what title companies are doing, but also some risks that might be out there with wire fraud, right? How does wire fraud occur? Let us explain it to you. Like, these fraudsters, they're hacking emails. They know what's going on in a transaction. Here's when they attack and how they attack. Make sure if this ever happens, so there's an education process where we want to educate people. We want to protect them, and let's make it fun too. And so Leah, who heads up our client experience division, is making this YouTube channel. It's fun. We bring other agents on. Love to have you on. With some questions
we'll be happy
we
to
bring on. And so it never stops, right? So it's like, yeah, we've got some fun things here, but what else can we do to kind of create that stickiness and educate people? And so that's part of it too. The other thing I heard you say is, yes, the consumers want to come in and have a great signing and fun experience, but also the agents do too. If you're going to be in there for an hour for the signing, let's give you a fun experience so you enjoy coming to the closings too. Because I'm sure, when you guys are closing deal after deal after deal, it's a lot of time that you guys are giving up at those closings also.
And to be completely honest with you, it makes your job a lot easier in the sense that, I'm all the time looking for my team. Okay, what are we going to do for this client, right? How are we going to do his closing gift? How are we going to make that special? And you guys take some weight off by already providing the atmosphere, the solution there. So, obviously, partnering up with the title company as you guys, for example, makes our job easier at the closing table through the process as well, obviously. But at that moment when we come into the office, you guys obviously have a beautiful office there, but it's just the how friendly everyone is, and I guess just the atmosphere of the office itself makes it a much more appealing to us and the buyer to have a good time there, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I saw when I was researching you guys do closings at Topgolf as well, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys? Yeah.
Yeah. So, it goes back to number one, it's a fun thing to market. You can show people golfing and closing. Look, we close anywhere, anytime. So we can take our team to wherever, you want to go. And we have a little partnership with Topgolf so that, we can utilize certain bays or whatever the case may be. But it goes back to just creating that fun experience. And, we have an office in Ashburn, and there's a great Topgolf there. And so, it just works out really well for our team to be able to pop over there and do those closings.
That was so fun. When I spoke to Mike about it, I was like, that's just completely, I'd never heard of that. And that just makes complete sense. Just to be able to have a good time, even, close the documents, eat and play. It sounds like an amazing thing to do. But so what do you think that really made your business so successful? Do you think, obviously, all these items, but what do you think that you guys are doing right to have the fastest rapid, growing company right now?
Yeah, I would say, I've brought this up before. I don't believe there's a playbook you can just take and go with. There has to be a constant loop of innovation. It's everything changes. What we do today is different than what we did 6 months ago, is different than what we did 2 years ago. And so, what we see a lot is our competitors are like, oh, Allied's doing that. Let me go ahead and copy that. And so what I always tell my team is, look, we're always going to get copied, but they're always going to be behind us because they don't have a process in place to innovate. And so, I think our, part of it also is, we hire people that fit that culture. Like you said, when I walked in, people were so kind, people were so nice. If they don't fit the culture that we're trying to create, then they're not fit for what we're trying to do. And so it's a matter of finding the right type of people. And then it's a matter of you never rest. You're never resting like, oh, we figured it out. You haven't figured it out. Things change all the time. We're constantly innovating. We're always asking our customers, what else can we do to create, make your clients feel special or create that experience. And so, I think part of why I liked this industry and why I wanted to get into it was a lot of like lawyers kind of just set up title companies on the side because it made financial sense, but they weren't running it like a true business. And so one thing I'm really proud of is we're really running this like a true business. I mean, we have 70 employees. Most title companies don't have that kind of depth. We have, pre-processors for our processors. We have backup processors so people go on vacation. We have a processor manager that oversees all the processors. We have a head of operations. So like there's a lot of positions that we employ that other people don't, so that it creates that backup and people can go on vacation and our employees are actually happy. You'll hear a lot in the processing world of title, like people feel like they can't enjoy their vacations because they're constantly being hit up and, they can't fall off the grid. So that's something we worked on internally. How do we innovate? How do we create a process that allows them to have a life too?
For sure. I think that's super important, especially to keep people happy in your company and not, just having to always be hiring. I think one of the key things, as and I'm speaking from my own experience, is having a certain team that you work with, or processors that you work with. I know you guys do that. When you find that right fit, is very important to know exactly, okay, how I like things done or how they like it done. Do you prefer to be notified by text, email, how you like to communicate with that person, and being really reactive instead of proactive. Instead of reacting on things that are happening within the deal, because we all know that there's millions of things happening behind the curtain that not necessarily everyone knows. But knowing how to really address those issues as soon as possible and really communicate with your team well to make it happen, I think that's key in that sense.
Yeah.
And that brings me to, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you obviously face a lot of challenges and problems along the road. I'm sure that you have with this company as well. What were those challenges, coming up, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, look, we've been in a tough market for 3 years. So when rates go from 2.5 to 7, that's a very tough situation. So, what I'm seeing a lot, just to be frank, is a lot of title companies are struggling right now, and they're coming to us and they're saying, it's just too hard right now. It's too hard to survive. And so, I say you gotta have advantages in many different places. Like, we have the best processors. How do we get the best processors? Well, part of kind of the culture we've created, those processors come to us and say, hey, I'd love to work for you guys, right? So when times get tough and things are hard, man, Allied, like I actually just there's a listing this weekend that someone sent me a picture of. And in the listing, they were like, we really want to use XYZ processor from Allied Title because that's who the seller likes and they're the best by far. And I was like, man, I've never seen that before in a comments before in a listing, but like, that's a testament to how you survive in tough times. People are like, that experience is better. I want to work with that. Right. So, one thing that we're really proud of is we were able to keep our team in place over the last 3 years on a tough market, which is very hard to do when, your volume dropped 50%, that's in the market. That's a tough situation. So, that's something we're really proud of. So we kept the team in place. One thing I've learned running companies is like, there's going to be problems every single day. And it's kind of the mindset you take to those problems. Like, you're just ready for the problems. And it doesn't become a bad thing. It just becomes part of running a business. You're like, oh, problem. All right, let's solve it. Versus, oh, God, another damn problem. Like, how are we going to deal with this? I think the mindset to that is really critical also. Right. Like, nothing surprises me. Sometimes you're like, oh, we'll never lose that client. And then something happens. You just never know. Right. And so you just got to be prepared in a sense, if that makes sense.
So what do you think is the best skill that someone that wants to be in the title company and create their own company per se has to have? Do you think it's problem solving? Do you think is hiring the right people? Do you think it's a combination of all of them?
Yeah, I kind of go back to like, what's your advantage? I think your advantage needs to be everywhere, right? So I don't get involved with the processors. My business partner, Matt, he owned a title company before. He's a great problem solver. And so we have, super responsive people. You have to have that, right? You have to have that on the operation side. Then on the other side, we've got fun videos and great marketing and all that kind of stuff. And that's where I work on. So like, they're both really important. The one on the right gets people like interested in you, but they're going to test you out. And if that process isn't great, then they're not going to work with you. So, you can't just have great marketing. You have to have great everything. So I really do believe that you can lose a customer because, they're, it might not be related to the ops of the deal. It might be related to just the experience. You can, and it goes both ways. So you really need to create a safeguards so that, you're great on all elements of the business.
For sure. No, I agree. And to be consistent, I would say, right? Because a lot of times, what I found, I've been in the business for almost a decade now. What I find with a lot of title companies, lenders, everyone in the industry and, probably agents themselves as well, is we make it so good at the beginning, kind of like any relationship a lot of people do, at the beginning is always, how do you make it good? How do you keep that person there? And then as you work throughout the years, that relationship really fades out and you're not doing the same things that you were doing in the beginning, right? So that consistency throughout the years, I think it's key to really maintain any client, any relationship in general that we're talking about, but making sure that the processes are there, like you said, the communication still the same, if not better, right? And you really evolve them instead of just staying the same all throughout. Because a lot of times when I fade out of working with someone is because it's not the same as it was, 6 months, a year.
Well, so right? That's a great point. So we, obviously we have business development salespeople and their job is to stay in touch with people, but we also have a client experience division and we are going through on a monthly basis. Who have we spoken to? Who have we not spoken to? How do we check in with them? How do we provide value? So that is something like goes back to, not many people have that department, right? Because it costs a lot of money,
Sure.
So that's the thing. Our opinion is I'd rather overinvest and hire great people. And our belief is that business will come back to us. It'll be worth the investment versus run it so lean where they get crappy service and whatever. And so, that's how I would want to be treated. So that's, kind of how we set it up.
And with technology, obviously your background with marketing and, the video side of it, everything. I know that you are obviously, you have your own podcast, right? You have your own videos. One of the things that really caught my eye when I was looking at you guys was, having like this video of like running through your office, right? And seeing like all the fun activities that your employees are doing while working, right?
Yeah.
Or, just like you said, there's no boring questions, like making some of the questions actually fun. So what do you think that technology, or how do you think technology has impacted your business? And what are the ways to really, keep up with that, right? So what are you doing now to really push your business even farther?
No, that's a great question. Luckily, on top of the in-office experience, the other thing we provide is convenience through virtual closings. We were one of the first companies set up for virtual closings before COVID occurred. So once COVID occurred, we were in an amazing position to handle a lot of closings and keep it smooth. Whereas a lot of the archaic title companies were like, what? We have to do virtual? How do we, they were so far behind, right? And so that's, so how do you always stay ahead of the game, right? So, I do so in a variety of ways. I'm in a mastermind group of title company owners across the country. One of the things we talk about almost every month is like, what's on the AI front? What's happening there? What are you guys using? What are you not using? What's working? And so that's something we're always looking at. We have, in our client experience marketing meetings each month, it's like, there's kind of like a technology innovation discussion. Hey, what's going on? Anything else we need to look at? That kind of thing. So I agree with you. You don't be the last one to do it. Sometimes if you're the first, it might not be smooth. So there's a balance there, right? Of like what really will help versus what won't help. I do think some of the automation coming out is definitely going to, save people time, so whether it's like a contract is sent to us, AI scans all the information, puts it into our title software for us. That's pretty cool, right? Hopefully it eliminates some errors. Now, you still need someone to review that and make sure it's it's accurate and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think the AI front will definitely provide some stuff that's going to make things more efficient. I think my guess is all like in this area, the DMV, we have 5 offices and we have people closing the office all the time. But in Florida, down in Florida, people just want the convenience 99% of the time. So we do virtual closings. We come to them. My guess is that convenience is always going to become more and more popular over time. And so I think you're just going to see more and more virtual closings. Virtual closings actually are even safer, in my opinion, than in person. And the reason why is when you're doing a virtual closing, you have to get the ID verified through third-party software. And hypothetically, if you're an in-person closing, someone could have an amazing fake ID and be someone who they are. And so there are some advantages, where I think a lot of people think, oh, virtual sounds riskier. It's actually not. It's actually it's safer in our opinion.
Interesting. Never thought about that. So have you guys seen, what's like one of the craziest stories that you guys have seen, maybe people trying to buy something without, them being the real buyer? What was a crazy story that
there's
that
a lot
had?
of scams out there where people are just trying to sell homes they don't own, and they're like, hey, I'm listing this house. I want to list it. And they will, so we have processes in place and vacant scam practices that occur a lot on how to educate the agents, like what to look for. So, stuff like that, like we'll talk with our teams. Hey guys, here's how they're tricking people. If you've never met them in person, there's a red flag. If whatever, and there's a variety of things that we do. That's more of my operations, my business partners world. But, like stuff like that's important to us. So like, hey guys, we just want to educate you and let you know how we're seeing it, how they're doing it, how they're pulling it off. We see it a lot. We've stopped it when it's happened. We see other people where, unfortunately, in other companies or whatever, like unfortunately, the transactions go through. There is fraud out there.
For sure.
And there's a lot of stuff. People are like, what is title insurance? Why is it important? So, there's a lot of communication that goes on between all the parties. So you got buyers, sellers, lenders, agents on both sides, title company, I think we see sometimes there's 500 messages, per deal, between all the different parties to get things correct, to clear the title, to title search, so there's a lot of like service there that a lot of people will be like, title insurance, what is it? Why do I need it? Someone has to manage that communication. Mm-hmm. Also, we handle all the money in our escrow accounts and, we pay off the previous loans. We send the money to the agents. We send the money to the buyers and the sellers. So that's a huge responsibility because unfortunately in today's day and age, there's fraudsters out there that are trying to hack these accounts all the time and trying to divert money elsewhere. It's a big risk that is taken on. So sometimes, yes, and then there's title insurance, you pay for that. But there's not a lot of fee. Yeah, go ahead.
What's title insurance? Because you're touching on that aspect, and I feel like a lot of people buy it obviously through their close, like on their transaction once they close, but they don't really understand what it does and how it protects them.
Yeah,
could you explain that a little bit?
So if let's say you bought a new construction and the builder didn't get the right surveys or plats and permits in place, with enhanced title insurance, you can be protected from mistakes that they made, right? An example we utilize a lot is, so let's say a guy has 3 kids. One of the kids moves to Australia and they don't have a relationship with the father. Father sells the house. The money gets split between the 2 kids. Well, there's a 3rd kid that comes back that was never got any of that money. He's like, I own 1/3 of your house. If you have title insurance, that person gets paid off. You don't have to hire an attorney. Attorney's fees are covered in title insurance also. There would be an example also. And then in examples with, fraud and other cases like that too, can also be protected there too.
Yeah, and I think it's very important for people to know that because we've seen it. I mean, many people don't know about it and maybe they think that it will never happen to them, but we've seen it multiple times where after the closing, someone comes out and say, well, actually, I own 50% of that house.
Yep.
Or, I'm the rightful owner, for example. So obviously that insurance will protect you of any issues coming after the closing because you guys do the search, obviously, from the day we signed the contract. backwards, right? There's no any liens. Who do we have to pay off? All that is title clear. But what happens after you own it 2, 3, 4, 5, even 10 years later on? Well, you're obviously going to be protected in that sense, right?
Yep.
Awesome. And actually, funny, I was going to tell you a story that through COVID, one of the big things that happened here in Florida was people trying to sell land that wasn't there. So that was a huge scam here. They got caught, thankfully, but they were able to transact actually, I want to say about 4 lots that, weren't theirs at all. They would just put them out for sale because there was no pictures or anything. You just a picture of the land, Google Earth, put it out for sale on Zillow, got a couple offers in, cash deals, obviously, and it would just transact super quick. And, you got to really look into those type of deals that, make sure that that's not happening to you as a buyer, of course, and I want to be protected.
Yep.
Well, going back to you guys and how you interact with agents, how do you guys really work with us as agents? Like, what are you guys doing? How do you provide value to agents that, may be looking for a new title company? What do you guys do in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think first off is like, we want to create a process that's specific to each agent. So, hey, what's important to you? Do you like to be communicated by text, by email, by phone? How involved do you want to be in the file? Do you want us to let you know of any issues we find, or do you want us just to solve them and not waste your time? Everyone's different. And so we have a file for every single agent we worked with to create that customization. So that's important. What are the tools? Like if I was a real estate agent, what would I do to make more money? So like we think of it in that sense, like, well, I would want a great client retention strategy so that if I've sold 100 homes in my career, how do I stay in touch with those 100 clients? And how do I consistently do it, right? And so, we went and looked for the best solution that we could find. We really liked Client Giant. And so we negotiated a discount for all of our agents so that they can utilize that tool. Imagine you have 100 clients in a spreadsheet, you open it up into the Client Giant system, and they're getting 4 gifts a year, and you don't have to do anything. But your clients are thanking you consistently. Oh, thank you so much for the on-the-go mobile charger. That is so thoughtful of you. On a gifting strategy standpoint, I also like the concept of, there's a book called Giftology, and what they talk about is, give gifts when people aren't expecting them. Don't give gifts on your birthday. Don't give gifts on Christmas. Give gifts when they're not expecting it at all, out of nowhere. It's like, oh, that's cool. And it doesn't get lost with all the other gifts.
For
so
sure.
That's something that, but that we spend a lot of time on this, but, for how you guys can do it with your clients.
Yeah.
Set up a mailer program discount, for you guys, something we focused on. Video solutions, providing testimonials and videos like, hey, here's an option for you if this is important to you with social media. So we always think about it like, what would we do if we were agents? How do we make more money? And let's provide those tools to you guys so you can be more successful. Now, we can't give them away because of RESPA rules, but we go and negotiate deals so you guys here's your playbook on how to make more money, how to be more successful.
100%. A very nice story is we actually have a listing in Leesburg right now. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a $4.2 million listing. Gorgeous house, over 22 acres, over 9,000 square foot. And, we sat down with your team, and we were like, okay, we really need to do a broker's open. So the property is not even on the market yet. It's as a Compass exclusive right now. And we're planning on bringing it to the market possibly April 1st, right? So we were thinking, okay, how can we do something pre-market as a broker's open and, just generate ideas to bring as many qualified brokers as possible to this property. And it was just sending the idea to your team. And within minutes, it was just like, okay, let me connect you with the right person in that area. She's amazing at brainstorming and doing this, and just the ideas just came through, I want to say, within the same day. Yeah. And that type of efficiency is really something that, again, just helps not only me and my team, but any agent in general to like, okay, I don't have to sit and worry about, maybe I'm not great at planning events, right? Having someone really give you all the ideas and helping you through the process, and someone that has done it a million times, just like, you know what, I'll help you through it and we'll walk you through it. So we are hosting, I take the time actually here, we're hosting a Brokers Open on the 20th of March. So we'll put a little bit of the information on the description about the property. But
Yep.
I'm very excited to work with you guys on that, and thank you again for all the help.
Absolutely, man. That sounds like an amazing property. I'm gonna have to check it out. So it's very cool.
Yeah, well, you're invited, so feel free to definitely stop by at the Brokers Open and take some videos. We'll have outdoors, we'll have drains, we'll have everything, a nice setup over there. But as we wrap up, because I know you're a busy man, I'm sure you have a million things to do. What do you recommend agents do, or how do you think that agents should navigate this market? Obviously, you mentioned in the beginning that it is a challenging market for a lot of people.
Yeah.
What do you see that people that are successful, what do you think they're doing right now to really, succeed?
Yeah. So, what I would probably do, so let's say I was getting new into the business and I was younger. Number one, you can look up who's selling the most right now. I would try to go to these really successful people and hey, could I please go buy you a lunch? Could I, whatever, and try to learn from the agents that are doing it. What are they doing? What is working? What is not working? Look, there are different ways to be successful. We have some people that they dominate leads and they pay a lot for leads and the leads work for them. We have some people that were like, I don't do leads. I only work through my past clients and referrals, and this is how I do it. So there's different ways to do it for sure. And, we have some people that are awesome on video and have millions of, views and different things, and it leads to deals for them. So, and then we have other people that won't touch video, right? And so, I think it's kind of like, what's good for you? What works for you? What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? The more you enjoy it, the more you're going to continue to do it versus if you hate doing something, you're probably not, right? So, I think a little bit's about, kind of grinding. I think people are more helpful, more willing to help people than people think they are.
Yeah.
And so whether it's they're going to join that team, look, I'm not going to join your team, but I respect what you've done. I'm sure we're going to be working together on the other side of deals. Let me buy you lunch. How can I help you? What's important to you? People are willing to help more than you think.
Yeah, for sure. No, I asking the right questions. I think it's very important. I think a lot of people are maybe scared of asking.
Yeah.
Like you said, maybe can I buy you lunch or can I come to your office? Obviously, trying to make it as easy as possible for the other person, knowing that if they're doing a lot of business, they're probably very busy. But like, can I come to your office and just shadow you and see how your day goes by, right? What you do on a day-to-day basis. One of the things that helped me a lot in the beginning is choosing a right mentor, whether you join that team or you ask for help, right? Really knowing who you're asking and who you're getting advice from as a new agent, I think it's key, right? And then, like you said, really knowing where you are in the market and what you do best, right? For example, I started cold calling to this day, I still cold call. But I know that that's not necessarily something that I would love to do forever, right? So one of the things that I've transitioned to is, okay, how can I generate business in a different way? So pushing super hard on video and interacting with clients and, lead generation systems. So knowing you as a person and how you get better converting leads per se, I think that's a key factor of new agents or people that may be struggling, like to really pivot and say, okay, look, I'm going to try this. I think I'm better at this than cold calling, for example. Let me go out and network and, just do video, whatever it is. But I think really grinding it out through these months is going to be key for a lot of agents too.
Yeah. Now, and it's tough out there. I've seen some people leave the industry that were very successful before. So it's a very interesting time, I've seen other people thrive. And so that it's like finding out why are they thriving, why are the others not, and it's a hard industry. Let's be honest. It's not one of those things. Talking to some of the top producers, it's very hard to put stuff on autopilot. Like in this industry, you got to be involved. You got to, if you're gonna sell a lot, you got to be really involved. And so
for sure, yeah, it's not that. There's a meme that I always go back to. Is like I quit my 9 to 5. To work 24/7, right?
Exactly.
And real estate is 24/7. Like you'll get people calling you at 10 p.m. on a deal, or you're working through weekends, and people got to know that if you're getting into it. One of the things that I always suggest to everyone is like if you're getting into it, go in full time and treat it as a full time job, and make sure that you have a schedule, right? And create a schedule and stick to it. But one of the things that I found also very, very that has helping me a lot, at least, is connecting with the right people, connecting with the right teams, such as title agents, such as a killer lender that will help you through the process, and really interact and say, okay, what can we do now to generate more business? How can we work together to generate more business? Because you guys have been in the business for a long time. So, knowing who to ask and, again, who to work with, I think will help a lot of clients and agents in general just thrive and generate more leads.
Hey, you're doing the right things. There's no doubt. I mean,
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And seeing what you guys have been, what you've been doing, you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. So what do you think, Allied Title has coming up in 2025? Where are you guys heading? What are you guys working towards? I know you guys are licensed in multiple states, but what's coming up for you guys?
So we're in 12 states, mostly on the East Coast, but also Texas, Colorado. And we're really just, growing those places we're already in. And so that's a great spot. That's a great deal for us. We also launched a national commercial title company last year. So we are in all 50 states in the commercial side of things, and we're starting to do a lot of commercials. So, we're going to grow out the commercial business. We're diving into those residential states where we're in. We're not just going to go everywhere on the residential side, because some places are just much harder to do business, and it's hard to, get the team in place to provide the great service we want. So if we can't provide amazing service and it makes sense and it's profitable, then we're going to focus on those states that kind of check all those boxes. So
for sure,
we're going to keep innovating on the marketing front. We've got some really cool videos that we're working on right now that we're shooting, producing, and editing, and some really cool editing effects that are coming out. I would love to get your thoughts on them, but I'll keep you posted when they come.
Please send everything my way. We'd love to take a look at it. I'm excited for you guys. I think you guys are doing great in your industry, and I think that we really have to bring you guys a little bit more into the Florida market. You guys are been killing it here. But to see that atmosphere that we saw when I closed, for example, in the Alexandria office, that was just super cool. I know that you are working closely with Mike to make that happen. But, I do think that a lot of agents should at least check you guys out and see what you guys are all about, the culture behind it, the fun behind the title part and working with, real estate. I think that's something that we have to bring up to light, and you guys are doing an amazing job at it.
Hey, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you having me on. And closeatallied.com is our website, and my email's on there. If anyone ever wants to chat, talk about why we're different or whatever, I'd love to.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much again for stopping by. If you guys have any questions or anything, again, we're going to put Ally's contact information below. And feel free to reach out to me as well directly. Would love to connect you guys. And thank you again for coming by. Thank you for taking the time.
Appreciate it.
Amazing, Latane. Thank you.